Comic books usually bring to mind spandex-wearing superheroes and colourful villains in light-hearted adventures. But comic books are also a world of adult takes on popular heroes, the supernatural, crime, political intrigue, and the horrors of war. Welcome to the world of mature readers' comics.
For me, comics started back sort of as a childhood hobby. I would have started reading comics back in the early 80s and would have picked up sort of, the Spider-Mans and the Hulks, and it persisted from there on to sort of a more, got into comics, really enjoyed comics, was fascinated by the visual styles that were presented to me, and then it followed on for me. Then it maintained with me all my life, so I sort of followed on that way and got into the more mature adult comics that dealt with real world issues and so on from there. But I think for somebody who maybe sort of hasn't progressed through that pathway, they generally sort of perceive comics to be sort of the cartoony kid type stuff. They don't realise that today there are several comic book writers who deal with maybe more sort of real world and important issues than perhaps fiction writers do.
Well, I mean, comics are becoming a more legitimate medium. They're becoming a more widely recognised medium for both for entertainment and education. So certainly comics can tackle all sorts of subject matter. Back in the 40s and 50s, comics were very much aimed at children 8 or 9 years old. And it was really when Stan Lee and Marvel Comics started to put books out aimed at a slightly older audience, and they caught on with the college crowd, that people began to see that comics could appeal to more than kids.
Back to books like Midnight Nation, which is one of the first sort of trade books that I would have read, and that even today, that for me still holds sort of both emotional value and a sort of a place of prominence in terms of comic books, simply because I think it was the first comic book whereby I felt I could give it to anybody, show it to anybody, and they would get something from it.
A Contract with God, the Will Eisner graphic novel, is taken as one of the landmarks for books aimed at a more mature audience. Once the direct market opened up, we had books like Love and Rockets, we had Cerebus the Aardvark, we had ElfQuest, we had Nexus, we had American Flag. We had a number of these books, all started late 70s, early 80s. In Britain we had Warrior, and these books really showed what it was possible to do.